My name is Rosemarie Spracklin. I am a muralist. I've been a sole proprietor for 6 years under Artistry of Rosemarie. And I'm also, first and foremost, a mother of two. And I just recently had a soft launch with Ahava, which is a nonprofit giving back to the community or organizations that serve the community through art therapy, and also giving them a platform to advocate, their causes and raise awareness, amplifying their voices. So my family origins in the Philippines are in the Bicol province, and I want to say our dialect is Ilocano. Yes. So yeah, that's. I've yet to go there. I mean, from what I remember, I was baptized in Manila, and I know in the cathedral there they donated my dress. But I would love to go back to the motherland with memory. So yes, Bicol province is where we're from. Ooh, family and perseverance, and I would definitely say strong. Yeah, that's very, very, and disciplined. And I think another one would be strict. My mom was born in the Philippines, obviously, and she came here through an amnesty, through my grandfather fighting in the war with the United States against Japan. And in doing so, my mom and her twin, they were able to go to college in the United States, and that's pretty much where they both found their husbands. And so I find a lot of honor, in that, how, to some degree, like it was for wanting them to have like a better future through education. So, yeah. My mom is very like she doesn't even watch like movies to be programmed. She's like very skeleton key, where she doesn't put any thought or energy, it ceases to exist. So growing up, I never heard of any of the folklore, because she's told me stories about how it's like witchcraft and stuff is real, so that's why she doesn't put any energy to it. But I've heard through my aunties, like ways of, preventing, like with the garlic, obviously is one, and certain prayers. And, we have very devout Catholic religion, and belief system. So again, with like no weapon formed against us shall prosper, but thinking about that folklore, again, like the garlic is one that my aunties really emphasize. And again, going on with my mother is like, if you don't put energy into that, then it ceases to exist, So I think that's like really my thoughts on it. And for me, I know, I think like the shape shifting, right? And it's like the witch, right? And they prey on like pregnant women and they're unborn. Ironically enough, before I had my first pregnancy, as you can see, I'm very like into the art healing and art therapy. I'm very tatted up. Before I got my first pregnancy with my daughter, I had sakya tattoos that I self-inflicted on my stomach. And I also had the it's like symmetric. It's like, so I have two prayers, and I ended up having 2 kids. So I do believe the power of pure prayer, is very powerful, and the word is too, and again, how we embody that. So that's my thoughts on the ASWANG. Like, obviously evil to some degree is there's a polarity of the good, and I feel like it's the absence of good, So it is and as far as the law of polarity is there, but I think as far as combating it or is infusing more on the love and the good, you know, and I feel that that's what continues to prevail by doing so, like keeping our minds on that and our hearts obviously too. Thank you.
I have a kind of a bonus question that's popping up in my head that wasn't on the original list, but what are your thoughts around the impact that Spaniard colonization and specifically with Catholicism had on our current present day interpretations of ASWANG?
Okay, so I would say, because I mean, when you think about like ASWANG, or if you think about any like religion, right? Because I feel like religion is just like, ooh, I feel like there's so many different religions and there's a golden thread with all of them, right? And sorry. And when it comes to like, you know, the colonizations and stuff like that, where different religions stem from is just different languages, right? And from different locations. And so when you're bringing like, you know, a certain set of beliefs into like another location, I do believe that there's like still a golden thread, you know, like you find in our studies of theology, like, you know, there in the beginning there was the light. You know what I mean? There's always the light, and of course some degree of, you know, love all, or you know, treat thy neighbor, you know, as you like to be treated, type of thing. You know, so I do feel that the interpretation of ASWANG, even with like Islam or like the jinn, right? Again, going back into my studies of like demons and like, you know, fallen angels with the Catholicism and stuff, I do believe that they don't have like a reflection because they're not able to face the evil that they do, you know, which is why they try to like con or, you know, try to persuade or, you know, trip up humans into doing evil and stuff. But the difference is, and I think because they're jealous, that we can face ourselves. And in doing so, we can also change. You know, we can also become better, you know, we could be better than our yesterdays and overcome our sins. Going back into the religion part of like forgiveness, you know, we can forgive each other. We can most importantly, forgive ourselves. So I hope that answers. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Have any stories of ASWANG that you or your family members have experienced or heard through the grapevine?
Okay, so this goes back into my mom and why she okay. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share this, but when I was born, I was born in Japan, and I'm the youngest of 3 with my mom. Well, actually I have a half sister also, well, she's full Filipino. And that's even a story too. And you know, my mom grew up rough in the Philippines, and so she had a rough life. Another reason why it's hard for her to even talk about going back to the Philippines, because of what she's kind of survived. So it was very intimate, me talking to her about, you know, these questions, and you know, even talking with my aunties and stuff. But something intimate was her delivery of me when I was born. She would always call me as like the devil child, because she did almost die having me. And it was like some grace of God. And my dad was like in the military, he was in Thailand. So it was just her, my siblings, and they were with like babysitters, you know what I mean? For like 2 weeks. But something inside of her, like she was like losing all this blood, but it was like, again, this light that was like, no, I have to fight. I have to, you know what I mean? Be there for my kids. It was like a selfless love, you know? And you know, it's not a button how it is now in the emergency, you know, room. Like she had to like grab for a bell, you know what I mean? And so I will say, like, when bringing up the ASWANG, I think that triggered, like I felt like maybe that spirit was trying to, get her. But again, like this light, something about, something bigger than herself, it's just that maternal protectiveness came in, and she reached for that bell, and she fought for us, because she was all we had then, so oh my God. So I do feel that close connection. And our mothers being Filipina and talking in Tagalog, like they're thinking in Tagalog, but then they'll speak in English, and it can be very harsh. And that I feel is the connection of the ASWANG story, closely knit. And I think that's also what made me and my mother so close too, to kind of, not be that devil child, you know what I mean? Like show her otherwise, like, and it's a tough love. But again, that's, yeah. So I'm really thankful that we were able to talk about these questions, because I do feel like it brought us closer. So I do thank you for asking. Yeah. And I know this is like cliche, but proud. Like I really do feel that sense of family. Like everyone's an auntie, everyone's an uncle. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're my cousins, and it's just like something that is unspoken too, like it's just like a camaraderie, and I find that that sense of like, even like all my sisters, they're like in nurses, and you know what I mean, like in the medical field, and it's you rarely see them in like trying to pursue like in the entertainment stuff. It's always like, things for humanitarian or something, or like stay in school. And I feel like we're finally in that era of like understanding the what is the word, the how effective art is, and theater and performing. We're like, I feel like our parents' generation is understanding that, and so I am like the black sheep in pursuing the art stuff, whereas like my siblings were, they went the conventional route. They did everything the right way. I was the unconventional. So I guess like them raising the bar, me being the youngest, and even my siblings, my elders, just the community, I feel have raised the bar. So that's where the sense of pride being a Filipino American comes from. And so I also want to continue to raise that bar, but in my fields, the unconventional route. But it's been a blessing to finally hear my mom say like, oh, all my kids are professionals, whereas before it was like, what are you doing? What's art? So yeah, no, a sense of pride. I feel like, because the shape shifting, right? What comes to mind, because also what aunties were saying, like, normally when you think about a witch, it's like a female, right? But my aunties were saying this, it was more of, they exhibit more of the masculine, like the male form. So I don't, maybe it could be like the disguise, because when you think about a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing, maybe the disguise is being in a sensual, soft woman, the woman side, because how we protect is not as physical. It's more of a, spiritual protection. Whereas the brute, strength of the male, I feel like maybe that was being disguised as the feminine, but really it's like this masculine energy. So that's where I feel like in the 1500s it would probably be, as like embodied as like a feminine, very soft. It would remind, I think of like a kitsune a little bit. I know I'm not trying to but because there's a lot of origin story that we can feel sorry for villains, You know what I mean? So when I think about Aswang, I think about this. It's have to be like some kind of spirit that was tormented or something, like scorned, right? And then I think of a mask again with like, but like it's again a protection kind of thing because from themselves, you know. But maybe the mask can also be what, again, they can face, you know, looking in the mirror, they can face it because again, they can't, going back into that answer, that maybe that's why they wear a mask so that they can see something. And maybe that is also them wanting to, you know, try. And again, hence saints and stuff. Like, I feel like, I do feel like there's always a will, there's a way, even in the spiritual realm. So I think how they would be hidden would be like maybe in the medical or the maternal ward. I don't know, you know, but I would hate to even answer it because going back into my mom's, you know, philosophy of like how would they exist, and I'm like, I'm not trying to, like, where would I place them in my universe? You know what I mean? I can't explain. But you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah. It's really funny that you say that. So did Layla tell you much about the play?
No.
Okay, so the premise of the play is, you know, the great Filipino American ASWANG pageant.
Okay.
And so it's with the concept of the ASWANG coming over when there's like first accounts of Filipino people coming to US soil.
Right.
In like 1587. And the plot follows like, or has the background context that every single year the ASWANG get together and do a pageant. And they name it, like, they're undercover, right?
Right.
They live here, they're a modern society.
Right.
And so they pretend to be nurses going to a convention. And so it's just really funny that you mentioned that.
Talking about dressing up and being feminine, and then in the, that's kind of nuts to really, oh my God, I'm mind blown because, I mean, yeah. But, you know, I'm over here also talking about my sisters being nurses and like being in the pageant. But yeah, that would be the cloak. That would be the cloak. Oh my God. Now, I mean, the energy and the essence it's a collective consciousness. And I want to say we just exhibited that in some, you know, and
surprised how many interviewees.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh my God, that's nuts. We are. It's Akashic, you know, and yeah, and this is no different. This is no different. And that, again, that's why storytelling is so important. The art, performing arts, everything. I would love to see more leadership roles, and not just like for Filipino women too, you know, because obviously too the men, you know, but you know, more because like, again, amplifying our voices, amplifying our strengths, and connecting with other cultures, and bringing out the best in every culture, including ours, you know, and coming together and creating this new updated system or formula, you know, and because we have something worth, you know, hearing too, and building with, and, you know, we're at the top of like engineers, scientists, and every industry. So I definitely see more leadership opportunities, and just also more, okay, so I'm about like sustainable capitalism, and also like digital democracy. Okay, so I do feel like, you know, we're furthering those, you know, furthering that moral arc. And so I would definitely love to see that future with more Filipino Americans, especially Filipinas, taking lead and, you know, charging the way. Yeah, so personally for Lynn, I've been my girlfriend, she recently through her mother, you know, was taken over, and we used to play ball with, I used to play ball with her, well, in high school and stuff. So shout out to Chris and Philin, and I mean and I know Casey with Angie's Bakery, or is it Ken? Excuse me, Ken or Casey. Ken. He's a fellow artist too, you know. And I know like social supply is like another, you know, again with the arts and like the videography stuff and with DJs. A lot of DJs, like female DJs, like Reina and Gia. And who else? I feel so bad like forgetting some other businesses. But closely knit, yeah, I would definitely say Filin's, Angie's. I know. So I've created, well, specifically for Filin, I've already designed a mural for them for their outdoor wall. So we're trying to, you know, do like another interactive mural. So, because in this day and age, everyone's taking pictures. So that's something to look out for. And yeah, shout out to Christina for even reaching out, and to her family for also believing in my artistry. So that's in the works. And like I said, with Ken Garcia, you know, he's a phenomenal artist and even better baker. You know what I mean? And my family goes, you know, my mom, we're always getting pandesal. Yes. So particularly those two, I feel like they're staples in my neck of the woods. You know, so and I hate to like, how do you pick a star out of the sky kind of thing? And those are the first ones that came to mind. So yeah, shout out to them.
Is there anything that you want to say about your own artistry and artwork? I mean, you yourself are a Filipino organization.
I guess, you know, I feel like, you know, the saying, find your niche and share it with the world. I just want to encourage everybody to, you know, find their niche and use it to change the world, you know, and stand for something, believe in something, and support others, you know, clap for others, congratulate others, and in due time, it'll be your time to celebrate yourselves and honor your achievements. So I want to say, yeah, for me, looking back at how far I've come is again an honor, you know, being able to take a therapy and turn it into something that I can like make a livelihood out of it, and something that serves me, I can serve others with it, you know. That's a beautiful thing, and that's again an honor. Like I'm just, yeah. I thank God. I give all my grace and glory to God for sure, and my family, and my parents, everybody. You know, everybody that's in my circle. You know, but I say that to say, you know, yeah, look back at how far you've come. Take in the right now. That's where all the power is, right? That's that ever will or ever was. But to also look forward to, you know, what's in store, you know, and to dream as if you live forever, you know, but to live as if this is your last day, you know what I mean? So yeah, just to be excited, and to know there's always more work, you know, like I always like to say, through the moral arc, we've you know, again, ASWANG, you know what I mean? Like we've defeated a lot of evil, you know, but we still have a lot more ahead. You know what I mean? The work isn't done. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess to say that, because I do find art and, you know, our words and is very spiritual, you know, especially as women, you know, it's like, again, our protective nature is like, I feel more spiritual, and, you know, through prayer and through our words. We don't just conceptualize here, but we conceptualize here too, you know? So I encourage everyone to love each other, and because that is our thriving energy, you know?